This next question sent to CornyDriveThru@gmail.com from Noah in England. I saw on the Dynamite review for the Young Bucks match, there's some grammar problems here, but what he's saying is, I saw the Dynamite review.
Now, be kind.
That was kind.
Maybe he's just nervous.
I thought that was very kind. I saw the Dynamite review for the Young Bucks match and noticed he didn't comment on their shoes. They were wearing the Dior Jordan 1s, which currently cost $10,000.
What?
With Jim not being a fan of Miro's $1,000 pink Mickey Mouse Gucci shirt, I wonder if he was a fan of the Dior Jordan 1s.
Okay, is there seriously a pair of tennis shoes that sells for $10,000?
Well, there's a big market for the world of, as you put it, tennis shoes or sneakers, especially Jordans. I didn't know they were $10,000.
$10,000?
It seems excessive to me. I wear flip-flops, but there are people who seem to go for this kind of thing.
Well, I didn't have any opinion or didn't mention it because I never look at shoes people wear to begin with, especially the Cucamonga kids, and I can't fathom that anybody would pay $10,000 for a pair of tennis shoes. But if, possibly did they just, write Dior on them and they're really just regular tennis shoes? I'm trying to think of some way to not just call them complete idiots, but apparently they're complete idiots.
So you don't even think they would purchase?
They're in their 30s and they've got kids and they would spend $10,000 on tennis shoes. Indicates to me that they didn't spend maybe they got them free. Maybe some idiot Mark gave them to them, or elsewise they're just complete imbeciles, because how long do they think they're going to be able to keep the wool pulled over enough people's eyes to be making the kind of money they're making now? They better, if I were them, I'd have a Christmas Club account opened up. I don't have anything to say to something like that.
What is the most you've ever spent on sneakers?
Let me think. Remember, did I ever tell you the story of when I got the shoes in bulk when I moved to Connecticut?
No, I don't remember that story. Shoes in bulk.
When I moved to Connecticut and started working in the Titan office, they expected you to dress up. Now, this is the first time that I had ever had a job where they expected you to dress up, except if I was on television. And so I got some new clothes and I made the mistake. See, all those years when I had suits on, when I was managing, the dress shoes that I got, I always had custom soles put on, because you can't run around ringside in slick-soled dress shoes. Say that 3 times fast. You'll bust your ass, right? So the very first, when I got in the business, to wear dress shoes with a suit, but still not to kill myself, I took them to, what do they call it? The shoe people, a shoe cobbler of some description. Yes, the cobbler gentleman. And I had treaded rubber soles put on them. Well, anyway, that's the only kind of dress shoes I ever had. Well, since I'm going to the office, I get some new stuff. I get a pair of dress shoes, just regular old shoes. First time in my life I'd ever really worn those. Within 3 months, I had such incredible foot pain I could barely fucking walk. Because my feet are so flat, you cannot shove a credit card underneath my arch if I'm barefoot standing on the floor. I mean, my feet are so flat they look like eggs on a frying pan. And I couldn't hardly fucking walk in those shoes. I said, fuck. And I said, I'm going to get some black shoes that, unless anybody stares at them, they won't look out of place with a suit or with dress clothes or whatever, but I'm going to get something I can walk in. So I went and I found this pair of, there's some type of designer or something, Nike or fucking whatever, not a Dior thing. But they were like hiking shoes. And they were high top, which I'd always worn when I wrestled anyway, as high top tennis shoes, because I didn't want to look like a wrestler and have boots. So, okay, so these are comfy and I can walk on these like crazy and I can stand on my feet at the studio and I can do all this stuff. Well, then, because not only are my feet flat, but also I have an odd way of walking from various fucking knee injuries and etc. So, boy, this is a scintillating conversation on the show today. So my soles started wearing unevenly, and then the shoes were kind of getting worn, and I said, I need to get a new pair. So I go to the mall to the same store that I'd gotten these shoes the previous year. They said they've discontinued those. Well, I love these shoes. Well, we don't have any. So I went to another place in the mall. They discontinued it. We don't have any. The third place I went, the guy recognized me. He said, I don't have any, but I know where you can get them because they were discontinued. So this fucking place here got all that was in the stock or whatever. You call this number. I called. They had 12 pair of those shoes in my size. So, and whereas one pair had been, you asked the question, how much, one pair was like $90. This was 1996. When I went back the next year, I could get a dozen of them because they'd been discontinued for 30-something bucks a piece. So sign me up. So I did. They shipped a dozen pair of these identical shoes to me in Connecticut, and that was 1997. And finally, I had to buy more shoes in 2012. And because when my last pair was getting really beat up, and I was thinking, oh shit, and concurrently at the same time, that's when I was having the physical therapy on my hip, and I went in my first physical therapy appointment, and he looked at my shoes and he said, you should not be wearing these. I said, well, this is all the shoes I've worn for the past 14 years. And he said, well, that may be part of your problem. And he made me get low top, lighter shoes, because these things were fucking Herman Munster boots. Low top, lighter shoes, helped me walk better, did the physical therapy. And then I broke down and he gave me the kind of shoes that I should buy. And I spent like $125 or $130 on that pair of shoes. And I kept those until the big calcium deposit on my right big toe from where Nikolai Volkov put my fucking foot back in the goddamn socket in the right position. It will wear holes in my shoes because it's sticking out there on the side, sort of like, John the Hunchback's hump. And so I've had to get another pair since then. But I get a pair of shoes about every 3 years or so. Is that too much detail?
That was a lot of detail, but...
So when you think about it, since 1996, I've only had 14 pair of shoes, and the most I paid was 130-something bucks.
Not bad. Certainly the young bucks could learn a thing or two from you about savings.
There you go.